All right, I came very close to the wire, but I finally finished seeing every single movie that was nominated for Best Picture this year. Here's my review. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
Alright, so originally I wanted to do a review for every single movie, but sometimes life comes at you fast, man. Life comes at you fast. And a big change happened here in my house. Looks like we may have to move, and moving is a lot of research and annoying stuff, and you have to go places. So life comes at you fast, man. And so basically I just did not have enough time to do a video review for everyone, but I just finished, literally just finished watching the very last one. So in order, let me just tell you how many movies there was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 movies in total were nominated for Best Picture on the Academy Awards this year, or the Oscars if you prefer. And I have done a solo video review of Once Upon... Let me just tell you... I'll tell you the ones that I did the review for. So I've done a review for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 1917, Marriage Story, and Joker. Over the past few days, I watched the other 5 movies, which are Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, and Parasite. So I'm going to speak a little bit about those first. I'll give you a quick mini review of all those, okay? Because I figure it's important for you to know if you don't know what the movies are about. So I'll just tell you in the order that I saw them. So first, I saw Jojo Rabbit, which is supposed to be a comedy. It's the little kid movie. I'll just read you the IMDb thing here. I think it's... Whoa, what the hell is that? I think it's just way easier that way. A young boy in Hitler's army finds out his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their home. So this is directed by Taika Waititi, who also directed Thor Ragnarok. The dude's actually pretty funny. Overall, the movie is okay. I guess I didn't find it that funny. It's silly. The movie's silly. I'll give you that. It's definitely a silly movie. I don't know. Some things were funny. It had its moments. It had good moments. Taika Waititi is a funny dude. He actually plays Hitler. So here's the thing about this movie. All right, so it's a kid who has an imaginary friend, and the imaginary friend is Hitler, right? He's a kid in Nazi Germany. He's a Nazi fanatic, and his imaginary best friend is Hitler. So the situation is kind of ridiculous, and it is somewhat funny. There's great lines in the movie, but overall, I don't know. I have a thing about war movies or movies set in war times. To me, I don't know why filmmakers sometimes forget to make you feel like you're in the war. Now, I understand that the whole movie is most of the movie is kind of through the kid's perspective. That's why things are a little bit more colorful. That's why some things are a lot sillier. I understand that. But I don't know. To me, I would have preferred if they've gone just a little bit darker with it. Because to me, I don't know. Do you guys ever see Pan's Labyrinth? That's the Guillermo del Toro movie. It's in Spanish, but it was a big deal at the time. Hopefully you saw it. It's kind of a similar situation. It's a country going through a war, and you're going into a child's imagination of it, but it's still very dark. I thought that was fine. Here they tried doing the same thing, but instead of going dark and scary or fantastic, they went for comedy, which was weird. Also, I have no idea why Scarlett Johansson is nominated for this one. Literally no idea. She got nominated for best supporting role. She's not funny in it. Her best scenes are the dramatic ones and where the kid's not in it. So if they're nominating her for two scenes, I mean I guess Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, and he's barely in the movie too, but he was, I don't know. Let's just say I was not impressed. Her role, definitely her performance in Marriage Story is way better. Jojo Rabbit, I didn't see it. Chick's not funny. At least I have issues with Scarlett Johansson. I've mentioned this before. So, like I said, overall, the movie is okay. It's cute. It has its moments. It has its comedic moments even. It's just, I don't want to say I didn't get it. I just didn't like it. Right? It wasn't my cup of tea. Like, and I'm a big dark comedy guy, and it has good lines. The problem is that it has good moments in it. It's just if they would have played it straight a little bit more, and then added dark comedy elements to it, I figure it would have been better than them trying to be silly with it. Honestly, to me, in the Best Picture category, that one is out. Like, to me, that's an easy out. So far, like I said, so at this point, as I'm seeing Jojo Rabbit, I had seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is good. 1917, which may be a masterpiece. I've seen Joker again, which another one that may be a masterpiece. I have certain issues with it. I have certain issues with 1917 too. And I'd seen Marriage Story, which was good. So to me, Jojo Rabbit was an easy out. So I'm eliminating that one automatically. It should not be there for the Best Picture category. All right, so moving on. The next one that I saw was Ford versus Ferrari. And this is the Christian Bale one, Matt Damon, directed by, I believe it's Mangold. Yeah, James Mangold. You may remember him. What's his biggest film? Logan? Yeah, I think Logan. Which one's bigger? Logan, Walk the Line. Logan, Walk the Line. I like Logan better, but I guess Walk the Line is his biggest, most important film to date. You know, the Johnny Cash movie. Anyway, dude's a good director. And this movie had Christian Bale, had Matt Damon in it. Both amazing performances. I like Matt Damon's performance a little bit better, mainly because I did not feel like I was watching Matt Damon. Dude, Matt Damon's underrated as an actor. I have no idea why he hasn't won like an Academy Award, or at least I don't think he has. I might be wrong. I might, you know what? I'll just double check that. Here's the beauty of this thing. Academy Awards, Matt Damon. I know he's won I know he won for Good Will Hunting as a writer, but I don't think he's won as an actor. Let me just double check that. Original screenplay winner. Nope, he hasn't won anything for Best Actor ever. Not even for The Martian or Good Will Hunting. Anywho, so you got Matt Damon there and Kristen Bell. Those are the two leads in the movie. I'll just read you the IMDb thing real quick. American car designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles battle corporate interference and the loss of physics to build a revolutionary race car for Ford in order to defeat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966. All right. The movie is phenomenal. I love this movie. I love this. I'm not a big car guy, which is weird. Fun fact. Carroll Shelby, he created the Shelby Cobra cars, right? Shelby Cobras are named after its creator, Carroll Shelby, who used to be a race car driver, but then became a car designer. Now, that he created the Shelby Cobra, the Mustang Shelby Cobra, which appears in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. Is it the unicorn? What's the name? Eleanor? I believe the name's Eleanor. Anywho, I named my dog Shelby after that car, so I guess technically I named my dog after this guy. So, fun fact there. I don't know if it means anything to anybody other than me, but I shared it. Anywho, so the movie is basically about taking down a giant, right? There's a lot of you. This movie shows you a lot of things, but overall, it celebrates the beauty of the American spirit, the beauty of being creative, the beauty of taking risks. It shows you the worst parts of a lot of things. It shows you the worst part of corporatism, the worst part of capitalism, the worst part of pettiness, the worst part of our own competitive, the worst part of our ego. It shows you a lot of stuff, but it also shows you how you can overcome it. How if you actually take a risk, if you put yourself up to it, if you stand up for what you believe in, you can actually achieve something that is to believe to be almost impossible. Because here it's a time period where Ferrari is perfection. It's the best, it's the biggest and the best, and it's how two guys were basically hired to try to take them down. And it's an amazing piece of filmmaking. I loved every second of this movie, and it has a certain brilliance to it. Now, one thing that I really enjoyed is that the movie is long. It's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 32 minutes, but this movie had to be long because you as an audience sitting there for 2.5 hours needed to feel what it's like to be at the Le Mans race. This is a 24-hour long race. Imagine driving at 200 miles an hour for 24 hours. It's fucking insanity. And so to me, there was a point where I was like, okay, I need to pause this and then, go grab water, go to the restroom or something. And when I did that, I got up and was like, holy shit, this movie had to be long. I mean, there's a lot of conflict that comes along. It's not only that they have this what is it, obstacle, this unreachable obstacle. They have this tremendous, gigantic, not realistic goal that they need to accomplish, but they also have 100 other things thrown their way, 100 more complications thrown their way. And it's like, okay, maybe they could have taken a few out of those out of there and could have been shorter, blah, blah. At this point, I'm just thinking, man, I still have other movies to watch. I wish it would have been a little bit shorter, but I'm really liking it. And that's when I realized, oh, holy shit, this movie had to be long. You needed to be sitting there and being like, oh my God, this is what it's like, right? How could they do this so that you can actually gain a certain bit of respect for the people who actually do this for a living or who did that at that time. So I loved it. The movie was great. To me, immediately it put it in the conversation for best movie of the year. The performances are phenomenal. Honestly, I feel bad that they're going up against the Joaquin Phoenix this year because Damon and Bale were phenomenal in the movie, but so far Joaquin Phoenix was on another level performance-wise. So maybe for the best support, I don't know who has the best supporting actor for this one. Let me see, because whoever got for best actor, he's screwed. The only way that they could beat Joaquin Phoenix this year is the Oscars don't want to give him the same awards as the Golden Globes do, which has happened. It happened with the A-Beat. I remember everybody was pissed. Like, DiCaprio won the Golden Globe for best actor there, and the Oscars were like, oh, well, we can't give the same, because otherwise, what's the point? Everybody's gonna know what if we just give the guy who won the Golden Globes, everybody's gonna know, and what's the point of them watching this? So I get it, but it's bullshit. Anyway, actor in supporting role. Neither Bale nor Matt fucking Damon were nominated for best supporting role. This is fucking bullshit. Let me see the supporting role here. You got Brad Pitt for Hollywood, Tom Hanks, The Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci for The Irishman, both of them. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. And let me see, actor in a leading role: Pain and Glory, Antonio Banderas, DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Andrea Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix. Dude, neither Bale nor Damon got a nomination for that movie. That's fucking bullshit. The Oscars are fucking bullshit, man. Those performances were great. Bale's body language, Matt Damon's like, fuck the Oscars, man. Anywho, let's continue. So yeah, overall, highly recommend Ford versus Ferrari. It's probably the funnest movie that was nominated this year, because other ones are kind of tense. They're very dramatic. This one is fun. The sound design in this one I was very impressed with. Now, I spoke about 1917 and how I thought it was going to win best sound design because the sound keeps the long scenes interesting. I still think that it's going to keep it, but here you could tell which car it was depending on how the engine sound. Each engine had a different sound. It mixed perfectly. All the clinks and clanks of the car. You could tell when something was wrong just because the way you heard it. It was great. Honestly, I would not be surprised if for sound design, Ford versus Ferrari takes it, because that was fucking amazing. It was great. It was great work. I still think 1917 has an edge because via sound they made things more interesting, but we'll see. We'll see. It was just great. The sound designer and me, as I was watching the movie, I was like, holy fuck, the amount of work, the amount of talent that it takes to make a movie, like the sound for this movie. Holy shit. Anywho, so I saw Ford versus Ferrari. After that one, we saw Parasite. I know, was it Parasite? Let me just double check this. Yeah. Parasite. Now, this is the South Korean film, and let me just read you the IMDb really quickly. All-unemployed Ki Taek and his family take peculiar interest in the wealthy and glamorous Parks. The Parks are a family, by the way, not in a park, not in a physical like park, and like family, like their last name is Park. Anywho, as they integrate themselves into their lives and get entangled in an unexpected incident. This movie is extremely. First off, South Koreans make great film. They've made great cinema. I'm a big fan of South Korean cinema. I recently went to South Korea. Fun fact, last year I did. It's an interesting culture. It's an interesting cinema, and they do really good stuff. Honestly, do yourself a favor. Check out The Host, was actually directed by the same director. So check that one out. Check out the Vengeance trilogy. I'm a big Mr. Vengeance guy, or I like calling it Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance just because, I don't know, I think it's a better title, even though I know it's wrong. Or Old Boy. Which one do I like better? Anywho, so yeah, check out the Vengeance trilogy. It's really good. Or Train to Busan if you're into zombies. South Koreans have made really great cinema in the past few years. Now, when we talk about Parasite, this movie is extremely, extremely interesting. It's weird. It's interesting. It's very well made. It's extremely well directed. I don't see. I went really quickly through the best international movies. Most of them I'd never even heard of. So to me, it's pretty easy that this one takes at least the International Film Oscar. Now, how does it? I have a certain issue. Okay, I have a certain issue when it comes to acting with foreign films. I'm not sure if they're good actors or not. That's the issue that I have with the movie. Okay, now there's one girl who I know she's actually pretty good. She was my favorite character in the movie, and even in a different language, I understood her completely. But when that's the issue with subtitles in a movie. You're like, okay, it sounds good, but is it really believable? I don't know, because I don't speak your language. Anywho, so that's a certain issue that I have. So it could be a weak spot. Maybe the acting was a little bit over the top, but the story is very interesting. It makes you very tense. It's a movie that's designed to put you in a position where you're very tense. It takes you in a direction you did not expect. It's an interesting kind of like con artist movie that then turns into something kind of fucked up. It's really good. I wish I could say more, but it could be a spoiler. So in fact, no, it could be. It definitely would be a spoiler. So I'm avoiding that. But the movie is extremely, extremely good. It's enjoyable. Does it beat out the other ones? I don't know. But so far I saw it and I was extremely impressed. I was extremely, extremely impressed. Is it my favorite South Korean film? Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna need to think on that one a little bit more. But anywho, after that one, I saw Little Women, and okay, I'll read you the story. The IMDb, straight for IMDb. Jo March reflects back and forth on her life, telling the beloved story of the March sisters, 4 young women, each determined to live life on their own terms. Here's the thing, when it comes to this movie, I know I just read you the description of the movie, but after 4 hours, not 4 hours, after 2 hours of seeing the movie, I could not tell you what it was about. Usually, again, there's 2 ways of describing a movie. One is what happens in the movie. 2 is what the movie's about. When somebody asks you what a movie's about, you should be able to say it in like 2 sentences. 2 sentences or less. For example, Jojo Rabbit. A 10-year-old Nazi boy in Nazi Germany discovers his mother's hiding a Jew in their house. Simple. A little bit long, but simple. Ford versus Ferrari. 2 guys get hired by Ford Motor Company to take down Ferrari at the Le Mans 24-hour race. Short and simple, right? Which one that I just told you? Parasite. Family of con artists try to take advantage of a wealthy but nice family, right? Simple. Little Women, I can't tell you what it's about. I can't. It's kind of not all over the place. And you see, okay, it's the lives of these 4 women. But what's the important thing? What's the story? When we're talking about a movie, you got to tell me what the story's about. It's like, oh, well, it's her life. All right, what conflict? What part of her story is? The movie comes in flashbacks. So you're seeing kind of what will be quote unquote present time, and then you go back to when things were all nice and colorful and the Hallmark Christmas movies and stuff. I don't know why there's a lot of Christmas in this movie, but the Hallmark moments, whatever. And then kind of like the present time, right? It was directed by Greta Gerwig, who directed Lady Bird, again with Saoirse Ronan. This movie has Saoirse Ronan. Is that how you say it? Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, Meryl Streep's in it, Timothy Chalamet, Laura Dern, Eliza Scanlen, who I think she's the newcomer. Anywho, I can't tell you what it's about, and it bugged me. Like I knew who the main character was because In a movie, if in a movie there's a writer, usually the writer's the main character, right? Because movies are written by writers. That's kind of the thing. But anywho, it's pretty easy to tell who the main character is of the girls. But I don't know what the movie's about. Honestly, it bugs me. And I figured this movie was well made. Overall, was well made. I didn't like the stories. I didn't like the flashback storytelling. I figured it would have been more fun to do it in a linear way. But all right, I understand it. They wanted to be different from the 1994 Little Women, stuff like that. Understandable. It is understandable. But this movie definitely should not have been a movie. It should have been a miniseries. That way, in a miniseries, they can show you the life of a person. You can go through different chapters. It'll make you care about different characters, blah, blah, different periods of their lives. It would have been way better as a miniseries. Here, it's just like, all right, I'm going to show you different parts of these girls' lives, and they lead somewhere, except we don't really know where that somewhere is because it's not really a point of the whole fucking movie. I don't see the point of the movie other than, okay, I'm going to show you their lives. All right, so we're just, stalking people's lives now? Is that the point of the movie? We're just going to see what their lives did? What was the point? What was the direction? What was the point of the movie? What's the movie about? Tell me, somebody please out there, tell me in 2 sentences, what the fuck is Little Women about? 2 sentences. Because this here, again, I'll just read you straight out of IMDb. Jo March reflects back and forth on her life, telling the beloved story of the March sisters. 4 young women, each determined to live life on their own terms. All right. So, in that very description, they're telling you that the main character, Jo March, is going to give you 4 other main characters. What the fuck? Right? It's like, I'm going to tell you a story about a girl who tells you a story about 4 other girls. It's, what? What? But what's the movie about? Tell me if there would have been like, all right, this is the movie about Jo March and her struggle to become X, or her struggle to do X, or whatever. Or this is the story of, I don't know, Amy March and her struggle with her sisters to do X, or whatever. I'm fine with having multiple characters, although if you're going to have a big cast, it's usually better to do it in a mini series. That way you can care about all the characters. Like, for example, Emma Watson is pretty much forgettable in this movie. Super forgettable. It's almost irrelevant. It could have been anybody. But no, they got Emma Watson here, and I don't know why. Anywho, you could barely care about the characters. It's well acted. The movie's well acted. My favorite performance was from Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh? I don't know. But she plays Amy, the character Amy. I thought that she had the best performance because you can actually see her like as a bratty little kid and then as a very strong woman. So I really liked her performance. I think she was the best overall. I don't think she got nominated. Let me double check. Again, the Oscars so far is crap. Let me see. And she wasn't the main character. So if she got nominated, it's going to be in supporting role. Florence Pugh, Little Women. All right, good. Great. All right, so let me just see right now. Kathy Bates, Richard Jewell, Laura, which, by the way, I've heard Richard Jewell's fantastic. I want to see that movie. Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh, Little Women, Margot Robbie, Bombshell. I haven't seen 2 of those movies, but of the 3 that I've seen, definitely Florence Pugh, her performance was way better than Scarlett Johansson and Jojo Rabbit. Laura Dern, Marriage Story, was okay. She just really makes you hate her because she's a divorce lawyer. Florence Pugh, you actually feel for her a little bit. So I think she takes it. I don't know. Again, I don't know about Kathy Bates, and I don't know about Margot Robbie, but I think Florence Pugh, at least of the other 3, she's in the best position here. Anywho, where was I? Talking about the movie. Oh, yeah. I don't know what it's about. And to me, if you're going to get nominated for the best movie, if you're going to be in the list of the 9 best movies of the year, I should be able to tell you what the fuck the movie was about, okay? So, again, just as Jojo Rabbit, this movie was out. To me, it was super easy and easy out. And a lot of people were complaining, like, how could they not nominate Greta Gerwig for a Best Academy Award, for Best Director, blah, blah. They didn't nominate her because the movie, and by the way, she also wrote it, the movie was okay. The movie was okay, but the story... Just because you grab a classic story, a great story, and you get great actors to be a part of it, won't make it a good movie, okay? You need to actually... The story, it's an iconic movie. It's an iconic story. Little Women is an iconic story, right? It's an iconic American story. it was told in an interesting way, but still made no fucking sense. Right? Well, it made certain sense. It was just dumb. It was dumb because I can't tell you what the movie's about. I just saw certain events in certain people's lives, and at the end, it's like, okay, that's where they lead, but that wasn't their plan. That wasn't their objective. I don't know who the antagonist was other than her own stubbornness. I don't understand what the movie was about. Movies usually have protagonists, they have antagonists, unless what you're trying to say here is that the antagonist is society. Society is mean against women, but at the same point, it wasn't really society screwing her over, it was herself. It was very stressful. I was like 2 hours in, and I was just like, what the hell is this movie about? Anywho, so that was Little Women. To me, that was an easy elimination for Best Picture. So far, like I said, I eliminated Jojo Rabbit, I eliminated Little Women, and which other one did I eliminate? Well, to me, those two were the easy eliminations from the list. Then I saw The Irishman, and The Irishman, I don't know if it's because I left it all the way to the end, but the movie is way too long. It's a slow burn, and it's way too long, and I did not really feel like Scorsese. Scorsese is an amazing director, right? He's one of the best all time. He did a good job. The special effects in the movie are great. Like the de-aging stuff there is phenomenal. But I didn't see anything really new from him. I mean, you got De Niro there, you got Pesci there, and you got Scorsese, which is the same crew that did they did Casino, they did Goodfellas, they did Raging Bull, and now they did The Irishman. Out of all four of those movies, I think this is the weakest one. Maybe, let me think about it. Probably yes. I think this is out of that crew. Again, the crew that made those four films. I'll say them again: Casino, Goodfellas, The Irishman, and Raging Bull. The Irishman is definitely the weakest of the four, and by far. The performances are okay. Again, it's okay. It's just too long, and the burn is way too slow. And I was at the end of it. I don't know if it was bad leaving it all the way to the end, but I was avoiding it because I knew that it was going to be too long. But I don't know. I liked it. I didn't love it. Liked it. I felt like I was suffering through the movie just to finish it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna finish it, but I'm suffering. I'm suffering while I'm watching this because I want it to be over. I wanted you, or at least I want you to be a little bit more exciting because this is a fucking mafia movie. All right. Right, freaking Casino starts I almost did a spoiler. Well, that's how the movie starts. I'll save it. But check out the beginning of all those other three films. See how the movie starts. Raging Bull, start off in a boxing match, and it shows you a very important part in Joey LaMotta's life. Casino shows you the death of a principal character in the beginning of the film. I'm just gonna say I liked it, didn't love it. I thought it was the weakest of those because these are like top notch. This is a top tier mafia films, maybe the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest mob director of all time. I didn't love it. But again, maybe if I watch it again in the future when I haven't been doing a marathon watch of all the other ones, maybe I'll feel differently. But so far, not impressed. Not impressed. All it was well made, but it's just too long and too slow of a burn. So, yeah, I eliminate that one too. So, to reiterate, in the list, we got Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Because I eliminated The Irishman, I eliminated Jojo Rabbit, and I eliminated Little Women. Now, looking up the ones that are left, I am eliminating right now. I'm doing this on the fly. This is the way it's how I feel. I'm eliminating Marriage Story. Okay? The movie is fine. It's well acted, but it's there's a lot of pointless characters. There's a lot of fat in it. I already did a review of this movie, so I'm eliminating that one too. All right? The real heavy hitters here, let me see, are Joker, 1917, Parasite, Ford versus Ferrari. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very interesting. It's very fun. I have issues with the ending. I hate that there's a fucking time jump at the end of the movie. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be building up to something, and all of a sudden you just throw a fucking wrench right there that gives you like a 6-month period of nothing. It's very annoying. And also, there's way too much Brad Pitt driving in that movie. They could have cut like 10 minutes from that movie of just Brad Pitt driving. So, again, interesting performances. Great performances, even. I thought DiCaprio's character might be one of his most interesting, if not the most interesting that he's ever done. But, again, overall, or at least compared to the others, I'm eliminating it. So, 4 left. We got Ford vs. Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Parasite. 1917, again, I'm saying it, it's a masterpiece, all right? The issue with it, okay, let's go pros and cons. All right, so pros of 1917. Wow, all right, I need water. Anyway, so it was filmed in one shot. It's a World War I epic movie filmed in one shot, which is extremely difficult. The amount of planning that took to make this movie it's like a freaking masterclass in film. All right, it's in a class by itself. However, the weak spots when you're watching it again, or if you watch it again, the movie's gonna feel way longer because there's a lot of like nothing happening. You know, they're just walking. Usually they cut that stuff out. Imagine like a cutscene in a video game when you're like, okay, the first time you watch it, okay, this is interesting, but then they kill you and you have to go back to it and you're like, this fucking why can I skip this? Why can I skip it? So I feel like on the second watch, it'll feel a lot heavier, but that's takes nothing away from the first viewing. The first viewing is everything for this movie, and I don't feel like it should take anything from it, but it has to be considered. All right, so it doesn't take from that. The sound is great. The performances are good. They're not great. So that does hurt the movie, right? If you can make the most amazing technical film of all time, if I don't care about the characters, it'll hurt you. It'll hurt you. So you do care a little bit, but not as much as you care about other characters in other movies. So I believe the weak spot for 1917 is the characters. And that's an important part. Like, for example, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, great characters. You care a lot about them. But, again, kind of drags, and there's a huge big wrench in the middle of it. Anywho, Parasite. Very interesting characters. Very interesting story. Very interesting plot. You're in it. You're in it with them, and you're confused, and you're kind of scared, and you worry about them. You don't understand how things are going to get fixed. It's great. It keeps you in there. Weak spot. It's a South Korean film. You don't really know if they're acting well or not. And you're reading more subtitles than you're actually enjoying the film. So I guess the issue here doesn't really have to do with the movie. It's more of a translation issue, at least for me. It was great. It's one of the best movies I've seen come out of on any other country. But there's always that thing in the back of my mind. It's like, are they really good actors though? Anywho, so all right, so that's pro and con there. Ford versus Ferrari. Ooh, the pro. It's a very interesting story. It's fun. It's long, but you never feel like it drags. Right? It goes fast. What is it? It's like a David versus Goliath thing. The enemy, the obstacle they're trying to pass seems insurmountable. It's based on true events. It keeps you interested. You care. The acting is great. You care about the characters. The downside. What would be the downside here? Most people don't really understand racing. Car movies have to be they have to be extremely well made for people who are not car people to actually care. I felt like I'm not a car person, but I was really into the movie, so I felt like that was well made. But there's always a downside to that, because sometimes you could get lost or you don't really understand the rules and all that stuff. So I believe that would be like the only weak part for that movie. And Joker, the best performance of the year. Oh, at least of those movies, that's the best performance of the year. You got Joaquin Phoenix there just stretching out all his massive acting muscles and showing everybody off. Which again, it's like if Joaquin Phoenix doesn't win the Oscar this year, the Oscars are bullshit. The Oscars have been a bullshit for a really long time, but this one it would just be disgustingly bad. The issues I've had with this movie is that I never really felt like Gotham City was reaching a boiling point in any unless they showed you the boiling point, but you didn't really get to see it. I felt like they could have worked the tensions a little bit better. They should have worked the movie, the city as a character a little bit better, not just as a tool. They used the city and the citizens kind of as a tool, not as a character in themselves. I felt like that was a weak point. And personal preference, I get it. This is a different Joker. This is a very different Joker. The only weakness I saw is that the Joker he's a criminal genius. He's not only insane, he's a fucking genius on a level that he can actually give Batman fits. So this Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, I didn't really see him as a criminal mastermind. He's just kind of a dude that went with the flow, and he became something because something else made him become that way, not really as a choice of his own. So again, that's just the DC fan in me, but I'm not gonna give it points for or against. I'm not gonna give it points for or against because I don't feel like it's relevant. Like, me being a DC fan should not be relevant for the way that I qualify this movie. And Todd Phillips said from the very beginning that, yeah, this is going to be a very different Joker. So, all right, I'll put that aside. So there you go. There's the pros and cons for most of the movies. And by the way, those two movies that I just mentioned, it's not bad to have a slow burn movie, because Joker's a very slow burn movie. But the catharsis, the catharsis that you reach, it's beautiful. It's a great fucking moment. Ford vs. Ferrari is a long movie, and it's nothing bad. Again, it makes you understand what it's like kind of to be at Lamont. The Irishman is both a slow burn movie and a long movie, and it's in no way near the same payoff for either. And so it's nothing bad with being slow burning. It's nothing bad. There's nothing bad with being long, but there needs to be a purpose to it. The Irishman, I felt, lacked it, so I eliminated it. So, which one is the next to eliminate? This is very difficult. If I'm being honest with myself, the best movie of the year is probably between... I'm going to go with my gut. It's between 1917 and Ford vs. Ferrari. Okay? I'm going with my gut. Because one's the most impressive piece of filmmaking I've seen in a very long time. And the other one is probably the funnest story of the year. And definitely the most exciting one. Parasite was great. It was very different. But I don't see it winning as Best Picture. I don't see it. And Joker was phenomenal, but I have issues with the story overall. The performance is enough to cover a lot of the other stuff, but it wasn't perfect. It had its issues. So between 1917 Ford vs. Ferrari, it's a coin toss. It could be a coin toss, but if for me, what's the best movie that I saw out of those 9? 2019, I have to give it to 1917. I have to. Because to me, I walked out of there, first off, as a film student, as a filmmaker, I've walked out of there and I was fascinated. My spider senses was tingling, you know? I walked out of there, my jaw was on the floor. And as just a film lover in general, like seeing World War I, the character, the horrors of war. I love anti-war movies that are war movies. Well, I love war movies that have an anti-war message, because you actually feel you're in there, you're in the shit with them, and you're like, holy fuck, the things that these people went through to protect us, you know, to the legacy of mankind, you know, it's a story that was clearly made with a lot of love. Again, I mentioned that Sam Mendes, these are the stories he heard from his grandpa, and so it held a very special place in his heart. And so Ford vs. Ferrari, also made with a lot of love, but in a different way, a lot of respect, but in a very different way. So I think one was more impressive than the other, and definitely I'll give it to 1917. I'll give it to 1917 because overall I think it was a little bit more impressive, even though Ford vs. Ferrari had way better performances. And I think if it'll hold the test of time better. I'll say that. 1917 is a movie that you watch once, maybe twice, and once to just enjoy it and be like, holy fuck, how'd they do this? And twice to try to understand, like, oh, this is how they did it, kind of study it. It's a movie you study, for sure. Ford vs. Ferrari, it's a movie that you can enjoy more. However, as of right now, I think I'll give it to 1917 to me. It was the most impressive piece of filmmaking I've seen in a very long time. So there you go. I worked through my feelings there. I worked through my thoughts there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's, oh God, I don't know. I don't even know what time is it. All right, okay, no, the results aren't in on any of these. Maybe I'll do a review tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just done. I watched a lot of movies. I'm burnt out. I need a break. Anywho, as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.